What's up, guys? It's your girl Serpentine10, and there's just something I have to talk about on this channel. Now, I love fighting games, and I feel like I have to talk about this topic, which is video game adaptations into movies. And I know that MK is finna do one, and there's a lot of other game, movie, crossover things that are happening. But there's something about this Street Fighter one that just has me scratching my head, and we're gonna talk about that today. Now, when I first see this trailer, the first thing that goes through my mind is that they are trying to encapsulate Street Fighter as much as possible with the character looks. Not all of them are bad. Some of them are pretty good, but there is some of them that are a little weird. But before I get into that, I just want to talk about what this kind of just looks like on the surface. It kind of looks like they're not taking things too seriously. Now, if you guys know, the original Street Fighter movie from 94 with, Jean-Claude Van Damme, that was utterly ridiculous. But there's something, it's so bad that is good about that movie that, it's like a cult classic, I guess. And then, it's that Legend of Chun-Li, and that movie was absolutely terrible. And I just hated that movie altogether. So are they like blending both of those movies with this one? That's what it looks like. I do like the colorful nature of it. It really does remind me of the old school ones, and that could be interesting. I just don't know what they're going to do with like the acting and where they're actually taking, the characters in this movie. Is hard to tell, but this is a very long trailer, and it kind of makes me feel like I watched the movie because they're showing so much. But we're going to get into some of these characters on here and see if they are, true to self of Street Fighter characters. So we're going to start off with talking about Chun-Li. So this is Chun-Li, and she is played by Kalina Lang. So I don't think that she is a bad looking Chun-Li. I feel like she has the overall look and style of that character pretty well, but I did see a lot of people online saying, she doesn't have the body type of Chun-Li. So that may be true. So she doesn't have like, the boobs and the thick thighs that is like traditional for Chun-Li. But I feel like a lot of the, producers and people who, get actors and actresses, they want somebody that can act per se, so they really don't focus on body type, and I feel like that's what's going on here. But we just have to see how Chun-Li actually plays in this movie and see if Kalina Lang can actually pull that off, because her character in this movie seems, pretty close to Chun-Li in a sense, so I don't think that this will be too bad. Now, like I was saying, when a lot of people think of Chun-Li, they think of the, the thighs, the Kai kicks and everything like that. And I was actually expecting maybe they would use something from Street Fighter 6 in here, but it seemed like they're going to just go with the classic outfits, because I guess that this is supposed to be, picking up from, I guess, Street Fighter, the original one, or I don't know if this is supposed to be picking up from that old school 1994 one, or is this like a whole brand new, rebooted? Obviously has like different casts and stuff, but I'm not really like sure on the particulars. But I guess she, doesn't really look like Chun-Li that much in the face, and she doesn't have like the body, but she's probably a really, really good actress. Next, let's talk about Ken. So Ken is played by Noah Ciento. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. So Ken actually looks great. Like, everything about Ken kind of gives me, Ken Masters. His hairstyle, his outfit, the way that he moves. This is way more true to heart to whatever they was giving us in that 1994 movie. And I think that this is perfect almost with his overall look. But unfortunately, that's where it kind of stops for me. It's something about Ken's demeanor in that trailer that's kind of off. Now, it's something about like the arrogance and the flamboyantness of Ken in that trailer that just kind of puts me off a little bit. Now, I know that he's like, a family man, and he's very upstanding. He wants to help his community, yada, yada, yada. But maybe this is before Ken gets to all that, and he's trying to, build up his, personality per se. So maybe that's why we see Ken acting this way, because he interacts with Ryu in that trailer, and it's kind of like Ryu is like, oh my god, this guy's like a douchebag and stuff, and Ken's just trying to hit him, and he's like not hitting him at all, and Ryu is like running circles around him. So that's kind of how this looks. But I hope it's not like that, because Ken Masters is a really interesting character, and I want him to be portrayed as great as possible. There is something horrendously comical about 50 Cent being Balrog. Now, I don't know what to really think 100% about this. I feel like it's a weird casting. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not going to be able to look at this character and not see 50 Cent. I don't care if you give him the hair. I don't care if he has on boxing gloves. I'm just going to see 50 Cent. Now, could they actually got an actual boxer to do this? They could have. But what was the reasoning with getting 50 Cent? I'm not really sure. I think that this is the weirdest casting choice, but it may work. I guess we'll see, but just seeing 50 Cent in this at all is just laughable to me. Okay, the last character I'm going to talk about that looks utterly ridiculous is Cody Rhodes playing Guile. So I am not in agreement with this. You know, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and you know, me seeing the American Nightmare come back, you know, from AEW, you know, he's gonna reinvent himself. You know, he's been doing really well in WWE and everything. This is not what I expected, and I'm just looking at this like, what in the world? Now, I know that Roman Reigns is Akuma. Now, I know a lot of people were like, what is he doing being Akuma? But for some reason, I'm okay with Roman Reigns being Akuma way more than Cody Rhodes being Guile. So did they only pick him because he's the American Nightmare? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's better than Jean-Claude Van Damme. But this is just ridiculous. His hair, I hate it so much. It looks so stupid. But, you know, maybe Cody Rhodes got some acting within him. We all know that, you know, wrestling is a big old act. So maybe he can actually do something good in this movie. I don't know, but I hate the hair. Why did they pick Cody? I don't know. I don't have anything against Cody Rhodes. I love him, but I just don't love him being Guile. So we know that the roster in this movie is pretty big. There's a lot of people in this movie. There's a lot of characters going to be showing up. There could be more that they didn't tell us about. And I'm really interested in just seeing it. It seems like this is a movie that I just have to watch so I can just see how this goes. Because I'm totally not interested in seeing the Mortal Kombat 2 movie, because I've already seen the other one and I did not like it. But it's something about this one. It's like, oh gosh, I love fighting games, so I feel like I have to look at this. But this might be a little, you know, crazy on the, you know, surface, but this might be a lot of fun. I mean, the characters I talked about, I just don't think that they either fit or something off about them, but they might work in this movie. But don't get me wrong, I love Street Fighter for what it is, and I just hope this does work out, because there's a lot of fans out there that want this to work. And this could be onto something, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, is the Street Fighter movie going to live up to the hype? Is this going to be a faithful reimagining of the game that we truly love? We'll have to wait and see, but you guys know what you have to do. Make sure you guys are checking me out on my Patreon and right here on YouTube. Until next time, guys, peace.